Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Akanksha, please start your great.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Applied Forensic Science for Justice Students Group, I would like to welcome you all. It's an honor for all of us to have such a great personality with us, Mr. Praveen Torti, sir, who is HOD of Forensic Science at Aditya Degree College, Surapalam. Today's topic for the seminar is Applications of Artificial Intelligence in Forensic Science. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us and sharing your knowledge. Please, sir, proceed the session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Akanksha, and as well Rakesh Mia, sorry, and to the team, complete team of Applied Forensic Science for Justice Student Group. And it is a very nice group, and taking part of this is a very privilege to me, and very happy to present here. And that too, a good topic on applications of artificial intelligence to forensic science. And am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And my video is visible.
Yes, sir, yes.
Video is visible. Hello.
No, sir, you are not
Hello.
visible.
Okay, actually in my settings the video is turned off due to the software inside it. There is no problem, right? I will share my screen. Okay. Yes. Is it visible, everyone? My screen. Please, can somebody reply? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Uh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so let's start the session without being any late. And first, applications of artificial intelligence in forensic science, presented by me, myself, Praveen Torati, head of the Department of Forensic Science, Aditya Degree College, Surampalam. So let's proceed into the topic. Let's understand first what is artificial intelligence. We humans are also having intelligence. Daily in our daily life, we use the intelligence and we will be doing our routine work, right? So such kind of intelligence is taking certain time. So every day we spend time to do any kind of task. So if particular intelligence is given to machine, and what we can do, we can save the time. That means we can make the machine smart like us, but not very similar to us, and it was so not possible till now. So many movies are there, fictional movies, fictional novels are there. So in all those, machine is made very intelligent and it is doing all the things that is shown. So artificial intelligence is also similar kind of thing, a machine acting like us, smart. Okay, but there is a question, you all people tell me a small thing, if there is a complete automated intelligent knowledgeable robot and there is a human, which is more intelligent? Please, anybody can reply. Very interesting question.
Sir, human.
Human. Why so?
So because human made that artificial intelligence machine.
Yeah, I appreciate you. It is very good. Yes, as the technology is developing, we did not stop anywhere. See, the artificial intelligence in the third point you can see in 1955, John McCarthy, one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence, one to develop and to term the artificial intelligence. Okay, so he has started it, and in 2020 now we are having lot of technology. So in this particular session, the objectives are we are going to learn about the latest applications of artificial intelligence in forensic science, and what are the current usages of artificial intelligence. Are we using it or not? Where it is being used? we all know, but how particularly it was. So that thing and what the future is going to be of artificial intelligence with forensic science. So we are the current generation, you people are students, so you have to learn the latest technological things so that in future you may not face any complications. So that is the main object. Next, coming to this particular point, human is intelligent or machine is intelligent? Yes, obviously human is intelligent. Human is going on increasing his knowledge and creating new things, and that particular thing will not stop. Today he has created robotics, and he created automatic instruments, and also artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, etc. And tomorrow also he will not stop. He will be giving such kind of tasks which a machine will do, and he will save time to implement and innovate and invent new things. Understand? So the humans are always intelligent more than machine, because if we are giving any task to machine, it will be completely doing on, and we can focus on new things. So this is the actual thing. So to understand all these things, basically, so if we are having artificial intelligence, or if we are having Google search engine or anything, the basic knowledge is compulsory required for every human. So machine is doing so and so work, it is doing scientific work, technical work, mathematical work, everything if machine is doing, why we need to study from right from basics to the high-end education? It is also required, because if we want to develop such languages, right from the human basic language to the computer language to the programming language, till the level of software designing, we have to focus on. So this is just introduction about artificial intelligence. There is a lot of things which we have to discuss right now. And coming to forensic science, what is forensic science? I need not to ask you all. You all background is forensic science. My qualification is also forensic science itself. Application of science for law enforcement to do better, to give justice. So your group name itself saying forensic science for justice. We are giving justice by applying the scientific techniques to the problems which are faced, encountered in the criminal justice system. Clear? So that is the forensic science. So today in our forensic science, what are the main basic problems? So first, if you say the basic problems comes the case pendency. So there are number of cases in forensic science laboratories, in police stations, and number of cases pending in court as well. So all these cases are which are dependent on forensic science interpretation and results. They are still pending. So how we can do something better with artificial intelligence? I want somebody of you, some of you should answer for this question. How can we apply? So what is understanding of artificial intelligence? Can anybody please respond that how artificial intelligence can be applied to help forensic science? Yes, my dear students, participants.
Yes, sir, in various recordings, voice recording, voice analysis.
Okay. So voice recording, it can be, yes, we can recognize the speech, we can recognize the voice when we are getting the sample to the forensic science laboratory. And we can also do it automatically when call is going on. You all know call tracking and call tracing will be there, right? So while the person is speaking itself, we can identify what voice it is. So the post analysis, that means the crime happened or the call recording is there, that you are going to take to the lab and do the analysis by comparing it with the database or the standard which is given to you, and you can give the result. That is a process which a scientist will be doing. Now the artificial intelligence part, if you see, while call is going on or the data is being collected, so in many of the cases now normally call will be there, so I will be talking with so and so person, that is a normal call, but afterwards there will be an importance. So by what he has talked, what he has spoken with so and so person, whether it is related to any crime or illicit activity, so like that they will be taking the call recordings, then it will be going to the analysis. So that is apart. So let's go on discussing about this particular thing. Forensic science, we are having many types of branches. Basically, we are having 22 branches. In all these branches, we are able to apply artificial intelligence in different forms. Right from beginning, where the forensic science will begin, it will begin at crime scene, right? So crime scene, we are having many techniques to identify the evidences which are not visible from that point to the highest end. So what is the highest end? What we can imagine is the instrumental analysis of trace evidences. First of all, collecting trace evidence is difficult. If we are collecting that, analyzing that trace evidence is much difficult, and that can be achieved by using the instrumental method analysis, like you can say mass spectrometry. So we are going to discuss that application as well here. So first, let's understand the particular definition of this particular thing, that is artificial intelligence. A system's ability to correctly interpret external data, to learn from such data, and to use those learnings to achieve specific goals and tasks through flexible adaptation. So here we are doing three particular processes which we have to remember. Basically, one is we are giving the input of data. So it can be the crime exhibit, that means the evidence, or it can be the standard and number of suspicion evidences, and correlating these two and analyzing them, and we will be getting lot of data. That means lot of output will be there, but in that output only the suitable output will be the result, right? So that suitable output will also be selected by the artificial intelligence. So this is how the artificial intelligence basically can be applied for forensic science. So what artificial intelligence? It is interdisciplinary, including logic. That means basic logic will be considered in this particular matter, and operation research will be there. So how particularly the procedure should proceed, and like we are in laboratory, we are having a standard operational procedure, but for machine it will be different. So if you see the next slide starting with algorithm, so if you particularly see what is algorithm is a spoon fed language, a spoon fed pattern of following something and giving us a result. So like that, operations research, statistics, number of evidences are there. Okay, so murder occurred, the blood sample is there, then hair sample is there, then the whatever suspects home or any relevant things are there, it is relevant with the victim. So this many evidences are there. Out of all these evidences, which are more important, and how it is interpreting that he is relevant to the crime. So linking the evidences, witnesses, circumstantial evidences, everything with the crime, and probability of saying that this is the suspect and he can be the accused. So like that. Next, control engineering, that means engineering a pattern, that means the whatever the mechanism, whatever the procedure is there of a machine, doing it in a controlled manner, in a particular manner, so that the control engineering can be considered. These all are subjects. Image processing, linguistics, psychology, neurobiology, the deep end subject of artificial intelligence. The inspiration of artificial intelligence is nothing but the human brain. Human brain, hardware is brain, and software is whatever the electrical impulses which are going on inside our body. Either it can be the sense, touch sense, visual sense, or hearing sense, whatever it can be. The senses are all collaborated, and it is being perceived by one data center, that is the brain. And the brain will be taking all the inputs, and according to its database, we are having memory, right? So the memory will be having the experience. So in our machine learning and deep learning, this machine learning and deep learning can be said as the perception and storage of particular memory, and perceiving it, manipulating it, and giving us an output. So this particular thing are the basics. So not only that, here we can see John McCarthy, he was the first person to coin the term artificial intelligence. Not only that, we are having many other scientists worked in artificial intelligence. Just we'll have a glance over that as well. When you are doing a test, if you are designing a computer, or if you are designing any device or tool, and if you want to say it as artificial intelligence, you have to do the test called Turing test. So Alan Turing, creator of Turing test, human testing computer and computer testing human is the process here. So you take a computer in a room, and you take a human in another room, and you are there. Okay, you are asking question to computer as well as the human. Both the samples you are asking the question, both will be giving you the answer. Like that, if you are repeating this question answer session for 100 times, so the percentage of the human to identify whether it is a computer answering or human answering, the percentage will say the artificial intelligence or not. If 50% the human is able to identify that it was the answer given by computer, then 50% artificial intelligence can be accepted. If 100% he is unable to identify that the computer has given the answer, that you can say it is 100% artificial intelligence, like that. So it will be correlated like that. So you can understand this Turing test. Again, you can search, various examples are there. It will be better if you go through that. Okay. And we are having many other achievements by many scientists. IBM company is one of the good example. A lot of AI technology has been developed by IBM. Developing Deep Blue is one of the most achievable thing which is IBM has done. What is the example? What is Deep Blue? Deep Blue is nothing but a game playing artificial intelligence. What game it plays? It plays chess. So who is the most renowned chess master? He is Garry Kasparov. So he was a chess master, and in 1996 itself there was artificial intelligence machine which played chess with this particular expert, and the expert was lost in that particular game. Artificial intelligence has won. So like that, artificial intelligence has developed, and now we are having a new technology that I have already said, it is a machine learning and deep learning, which is already started in 80s itself. And what is the basic concept is the perceptrons. So in human brain, what is the basic element? Yes, can anybody answer? Simple question, just to make sure that all are alert with my topic. Dear participants, what is the basic element in our brain?
Nerves.
Nerves. Basic element.
Neurons.
Neuron. So
Yeah.
in the similar manner, if you are seeing this particular thing, machine learning or deep learning or machines which are designed to artificial intelligence is nothing but perceptrons. Okay, it is not mentioned here, but it is called perceptrons. So Frank Rosenblatt coined the term called perceptrons, which is the key element of a machine to memorize, to perceive the data and give the manipulated output is because of perceptrons. In his outbreaking work concerning artificial neural networks, and many other scientists are also there. If we are going on discussing, it will be going on extending. So let's proceed into further. First, we need to understand some basic terms to understand the artificial intelligence. First is computer algorithms. So what are algorithms? In computer systems, an algorithm is basically an instance of logic written in software by software developers. Who are software developers? We are the software developers. What we are saying to computer? A very clear spoon-fed language is given. If we are giving an example, so let's take one example. You are giving a list, okay? So in that, identify the largest number given in the random list of numbers. So you are giving a random list of number, you are saying the computer to identify it. So how to identify that particular thing? You are going to give an instruction to the computer. Number or not, number is there or not, first of all in the list, it will identify. Yes, if it is there, then it will proceed. What is the first number? It will identify. Okay, the first number is identified, then it will compare. It will be comparing it with the second number, third number, fourth number. Whenever it is identifying the largest number than the first number, then it will be taking that first largest number as the key, and it will be comparing it with the other random numbers which are there in the list. So finally, when it is done with all comparison, it will be giving us the result saying this is the largest number. So that is how an algorithm is designed. So if you can search it, some images, if you search, you can see a flowchart will be given. So the question and procedure and the result. So this is an algorithm. This is a very simple algorithm. And if you are making it complicated, that means you are giving multiple tasks, like you are giving the instruction to the computer to conduct the addition, subtraction, division, etc. These are multiple mathematical examples. Similarly, we are having probability examples and different types of programming things will be there. So all together, if you are mixing these algorithms and you are creating a new thing and a complex comprehensive package, that will be called as programming language. A programming language is a formal language comprising a set of instructions. That means all the algorithms that produce various kinds of outputs. Okay, you are giving something to it and it will be doing the processing, analyzing it and giving us the output. Clear? So programming languages are used in computer programming to implement algorithms. Most programming languages consist of instructions to the computers. Example, Fortran you can see for mathematical problems or mathematical issues, you can use this Fortran. And you can also see good example Python. Python is very widely used now. So a multi-purpose language used for coding web development or softwares which are related to this particular thing. So like that for Android app development, for web development, etc. Many other things we can use programming languages. Numerous programming languages are there. When it is coming to artificial intelligence, there are certain programming languages which are doing the intelligence work. So here you have to understand two more things. One is the knowledge agent and other is the intelligent agent. What is knowledge agent? The knowledge agent means it is having the knowledge. For example, in Google search bar, you are asking some question. So what would be the age of so and so? Any question it can be. So what is a programming language if you search in that? So it will be taking you to a website or it will be taking you to a most relevant article and it will be showing the information. So that is the knowledge. Okay, what is intelligence now? When you are about to complete your question in the search bar, what is a program language? What is a program like that? If you are typing the remaining sentence, whatever it is there, programming languages, program music or program dance, like that, it will be completely showing the list. So what is that? That is the intelligence. Clear? So before you do something, before you want to do something, it will be identified and it will be giving you a result in search bar. So that is a small example of artificial intelligence. Difference between the knowledge and the intelligence. So both are there in our Google. So that's about the programming languages. Then let's proceed with the artificial intelligence forms of approaches. So right from the beginning till this advanced level, how the artificial intelligence was been working. So first, if you see symbolism is also known as classical artificial intelligence or rule based, or you can simply say it as a simple logical approach. Okay, example, a person exhibited froth from his mouth while dead. So what will be the possibility? Froth coming out of the mouth, he is dead. So obviously you can say it as the poisoning. Simple. So single answer, like means by giving one input you will be getting another output. So such kind of example can be said as symbolism. So in very basic computers this particular mechanism can be seen. And next one, Bayesian inference. So Bayesian theorem or the Bayesian rule, Bayesian law, whatever it is there, it is studied in forensic statistics as well. So many of you might be familiar with forensic statistics. So what it deals with, some examples if we say, so a crime occurred and there are suspects A, B, C. Okay, in that suspects you are having some evidences also. The maximum number of evidences showing and indicating A being the suspect and most suspicious will be giving us the result that A might be a most potential suspect than B and C. But our human intelligence should also be working here. We should not eliminate B and C so easily. We should also be working on that. Clear? So ultimately, if there is no other chance to prove that B and C are also accused, only A can be accused by considering other circumstantial evidences, we will be convicting the suspect A into accused. So this is a basic example. So anyhow, Bayesian reasoning, which determines the probability of an event with uncertain knowledge. So you are having very complicated knowledge with you, very complicated evidences are there of a crime, and you are unable to give any particular interpretation based of the particular evidences and all, then you will be applying Bayesian inference or Bayesian theorem. At that time you will be getting the probability, in which probability this is a suspect, he is a suspect. So that can be said by Bayesian inference by giving certain percentage. So 90% A suspect and 50% B is suspect, C 20% C is suspect. So obviously in ultimate decision the B and C will be eliminated. This is how the Bayesian inference will be helpful for us, and it can be applied in our DNA analysis, or we can apply it in the criminology, or while investigation, interrogation, or we can see the blood grouping. So people who are involved in the crime, what are their blood groups, and what is the suspect's blood group which is there, and how many blood groups, specific blood groups are there. For example, there are 5 people and in crime scene the suspect blood group was A positive, and in these 5 people there are 2 A positives. So you will be considering these 2 people as primary suspects. So like that is the example, and it relates the conditional probability and the marginal probabilities of 2 random events. Example, you can see all these examples. A person exhibits, so let's take the previous example. A person exhibiting froth from mouth while death, possibly death due to plant or animal. So we can give the 2 possibility here. So considering few other evidences, it can be determined. So next is nearest neighbor. So if you are considering all the evidences, then you are having the result. So if you can say KNN is actual the calculation which is there in the nearest neighbor. I hope you are all following, right? Is it clear to everyone? Am I confusing you all? Yes, dear participants, is it clear or am I confusing?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's proceed. So nearest neighbor means if we are doing a mathematical calculation and we are having probability of certain event, without confusing, I'll proceed with an example. Okay, 50% of people died due to symptoms of froth formation. That means a foam coming out of the mouth, and bite injury is there, and blurred vision is also there. These are the symptoms. Okay, so considering this particular symptoms, our artificial intelligence mission is saying that 50% people have died out of these symptoms, and it could be cobra poisoning. Okay, so now our victim or the patient who has came to the toxicological laboratory or to a doctor, the doctor is able to identify the symptoms, and if he is entering those symptomatical things into his system, and if the system is asking what are the symptoms of the patient, if he is entering all the symptoms, if accurately if he is entering, the system will be cross checking with its database. Okay, and it will be giving us a result saying that it could be the cobra poisoning and 50% people have died. So our doctor will be saying that, and he will be understanding the diagnosis, and he will be doing the whatever necessary. So this is a nearest neighbor. So another nearest neighbor can also be expected in this. So 20% of the cases are alive, and it is a normal bite of a sting or any honeybee, like that if it is said. So like that we will be considering all the nearest neighbor results, and we will be giving the diagnostic whatever the treatment is required. So that is about the nearest neighbor. This is also a computer activity which has been there. And artificial neural network. So this is a very advanced one. It is inspired by how brain works, already said. So in our brain also we are having a network which is correlated to each and everything, and the impulses will be received, it will be stored in memory, and whenever it is required, it will be regained, and it will be matching with the collected data, and it will be giving us the output, that is understanding. Clear? So our particular artificial neural network approach uses artificial neurons called perceptrons, already said. Learning by comparing itself with a desired output, altering the strengths of connections between its internal neurons to reinforce connections that seem to be useful, giving an output simply, if I say. Then we are having machine learning and deep learning. So if I want to tell you this example, a database is there. In that database, there are numerous number of fingerprints, and the police officer suspected a person, and he wants to identify who is. even though he is showing his ID card, still the suspicion is there. Then the police officer is taking his fingerprint onto a scanner. The scanner is scanning the fingerprint and it is searching with the database and it is giving the result. So it is matched with so and so fingerprint, and the data whatever it is provided is matching with the ID card. It's over. So that is a normal search, and normal whatever it is there, the technology is automated, and the whatever the pattern recognition is there, that is also part of artificial intelligence. It will be recognizing the pattern of fingerprint and it will be matching with the data and giving the result. So like that, machine learning, what it will do, if similar kind of patterns are there, if two similar, it is not possible actually. So let us say the DNA example. So if two DNAs are there, it is probable that if one DNA is there, that DNA can be repeated once in 20 million population. Okay, so our suspect is there in this particular location. Now the machine, what it will do, what is the population of this particular country, it will be considering that the population of country is 60 million. So out of 60 million, what is possibility of this DNA, suspect DNA, to repeat again? It is maybe 6 times or 3 times. So let's assume like that. But what will machine will do? Other 3 DNA samples, whatever are there, they are far away from the where crime has taken place. Now the only suspect who is relevant is the person who has given the DNA at crime scene as well as in the standard examination. Our machine learning is what it is doing. Intelligently it is working. It is correlating the data with other aspects, population, and where this population is present, and who are those other people, where they are present, whether what is their lifestyle, and whether they are relevant with this crime or not. Like that, the possibility will be measured and it will be giving us the basic result. Deep learning, if you see, it is completely thinking like a human. So you are not going to design any algorithm nor any program language. By itself, it is manipulating itself to give us a better understanding, better result. So this is how the introduction part is there. So next, proceed with the applications part, latest applications if you see in AI. So first is crime scene investigation part is there. So that is the beginning part. In a crime scene investigation, the investigation can be made easy by recognizing things and objects in the crime. So such kind of technology is there. The police officer who is going into crime scene with a camera and photographing all the things, automatically the photograph, whatever it is captured, will be going into the database for searching purpose, and it will be correlating these particular objects and the things which are present in the crime scene with its database. So how the database is created? Database is created by the users. So number of people are using this particular technology. They will be able to input the data into the database. So if a particular knife is there, a knife is being seen in the crime scene, and the similar kind of a knife is being seen in 2 other crime scenes. That means you can relate these 3 crime scenes and you can say maybe criminal is only single person. So like that, a technology is being developed. So Spanish National Cybersecurity Institute to develop an evidence recognizing tool that uses artificial intelligence to identify objects in police photographs and to search for links with other crimes. Clear? So this is what the new technology is being developed. Here you have to understand latest applications. So next is artificial intelligence in crime detection. So how can we detect the crime? Okay, so the company called ShotSpotter. So I have referred certain articles to give you a good product. Okay, so the ShotSpotter is there. It uses smart city infrastructure. Okay, a smart city means lanes will be there, buildings will be there, markets will be there, etc. Right? So to triangulate the location of a gunshot, so there will be a sensor which is placed at various locations of this urban city, and if there is a gunshot which is there, and if it is heard, then it will be correlating the place where it is there. Clear? So at that time, the particular case from where the gunshot is being shot, that place can be located onto the sensor, and in map you can see. So according to the sound which is perceived, this is the location. Like that, it will be identifying and it will be giving us the result. So like that, we are having a Chinese company called Hikvision, which is a major security camera producer, announced they would be using chips and to create cameras able to run deep neural networks like deep learning right on the board. So they say the new camera can better scan for license plates on the cars and run facial recognition to search potential criminals or missing people and automatically detect suspicion anomalies like unattended bags or any car which is stranded for the long time. Like that, they will be identifying the things and it will be giving the information to the police. Clear? So it is very helpful. Like CCTV camera is identifying a criminal or missing person and the data is there with us. We can help a lot of things, right? So this is also been in news, and you can also study about this facial recognition by CCTV camera, and it is a very famous company. And coming to prevention of child abuse, pornography, human trafficking, and other illicit activities on the internet is also a part. So you can see artificial intelligence is being applied by the Facebook. So where the Facebook has identified child abuse, pornographic content on its social media, and in the span of 3 months gap, they have identified 9 million posts which are there in the private post. So private means it is not visible to the public, but it is there in the account of the user. Okay, so they have identified such kind of posts and they have deleted it, so that the main content, whatever it is there, it has been removed. So like that, not only that, there are certain US law enforcement cyber security companies which they have developed a software which will be identifying the advertisements related to human trafficking or women selling or illicit activities like drug or firearms sale, etc. So both in normal internet as well as in the dark web. So dark web is very deep and thing. In that also they are able to identify the content and remove it and take proper actions on them. So many cases are being solved by this particular technique also. It is in the use and it is a new technology. Mobile forensic tools in artificial intelligence. So we were discussing about a software tool which could identify the content on the internet. So that is law enforcement softwares which are not been said. So previously we have also said about the spot, that means shot spotter, where the firing gun can be heard and it can be identified in which particular location it was. And you can see a tool which is developed by Spanish government cyber security, where they'll be identifying the objects and recognizing the evidences from various crime scenes and correlating it with the others. So now let's learn about mobile forensic tools. So this is very advanced but very bulky kind of tool. There are 6 suitcases with containing advanced laptops. Very high-end laptops will be there, which is developed by Celebrate. So you can see here the small image. I couldn't put it larger size. Okay, but this mobile forensic tool, what it will do, it will be automatically sniffing through the potential evidence. That means what is evidence here? The mobile phone. On suspect's mobile phone, it can analyze the images, communication patterns. Not only the images. Images means the image will be in a data form, data structural form, and the image can be seen. So what image it is? It is his own image, or it is a pornographic image, or it is an image showing the drug or firearm, what it is, whether it is related with any illicit activity or what. So such kind of thing will be there. And not only that, it will also identify communication patterns. So how often a person is talking on phone, on to whom with he is talking. So he is talking with a drug dealer or a firearm dealer, or he is communicating with someone who is involved in human trafficking. Some such kind of communication patterns can also be done. And if it is scanning the videos and images, whose faces are there, who is the people present in this particular gallery, and cross-reference the data with multiple devices, helping the officers, police officers, to quickly build up a detailed picture of what actually the activities are of a person. Clear? So like that, you can see these particular things which are being done by a software developed by Celebrate. So it is into the trial state, and many issues are also related to this. Many governments are not allowing to practice this particular thing because it can get involved with the public also. It can scan any mobile phone easily. So when the mobile phone is in the lab, then only it will be tested. So that particular kind of guidelines are being used right now. Next, coming to criminal intelligence analysis with artificial intelligence. What is criminal intelligence analysis means? Algorithms also can identify and correlate the criminals. So the idea is to help police realize that individuals or evidences or crime patterns are present So these are correlated. It will be giving us visual analytics for sense making. So if you can see the main image here, the top image, Valkyrie. So visual analytics for sense making in criminal intelligence analysis. So we are not asking machine to give you an answer, but we are giving it some clue, and we are asking possible relevance to particular thing. So it can be the face of a criminal. So if you are finding some person, so that Chinese invention is there, no? That CCTV camera. So if it is identifying so and so person, it will be taking that photo and it will be cross linking with the criminal data, and it will be saying that he is a criminal. So he will be marked with red color square or circle in the monitor, and he will be monitored continuously by CCTV cameras, and police can reach him and they can catch him. So like that, the criminal intelligence is also similar to that particular thing. So it can be the tool mark, it can be the impression, it can be the tire mark, it can be the criminal, or it can be any other evidence which is there. And if it is photographed, and you can intelligently do something with that by using the machine. Clear? So that is one of the input by criminal intelligence system, and Valkyrie is one of the sense making thing. So if there are numerous things, numerous data will be there, but what is relevant to us will be provided by the Valkyrie. So it can be the evidence or criminal. Okay. So artificial intelligence tools for laboratory scientific investigations. So in our forensic science laboratories, law enforcement till now it was there, and now we are dealing with this forensic science. Scientists are working on image analyzing system that can count microscopic particles found on the soles of suspects or on the doors, windows, or any other objects in the crime scene. So let's take the example of pollens or gunshot residues or trace evidences like powders or chemicals or drug material. So all these particles are trace evidences. How much it is there? What is the particle size? So not only identifying the particle size and what it is and its nature, whether it is a crystalline or powder or it is amorphous, whatever it is also going to identify what it is. So if it is a pollen grain, which species pollen grain it is, what is its structure? So how it will identify? Everything in our forensic science is based on the database, forensic informatics. It can be the DNA, face, fingerprints, or bullets, cartridges, whatever it is there. It can be the impressions of foot, etc. Many things can be maintained in database. All we need in humans is discipline. So whatever we are taking, whatever we are collecting, we have to make it as a database, as a filing in a digital form into a computer. So that can be maintained in certain servers, and that can be referred whenever it is necessary. So all automatic thing of this particular thing. Manually you are getting the evidence to the laboratory. From laboratory you are uploading into the computer. From a computer the searching is being done. If it is taking time, after a certain time you will be getting the output. This is completely a manual thing. Artificial intelligence part is automatically doing everything. Then artificial intelligence machine learning for DNA mixture analysis is a new application where the sample which is collected for DNA analysis is being mixed with many other samples. That means 2 or 3 people's DNA is there in one particular sample. Then we have to separate it, but that separation manually being done, it will be taking our weeks of time. So 1 week or 2 weeks depends upon how much time is spent by the scientists and what are the complications which are present. So generally, if you want to separate the DNA, you will be counting the number of alleles which are present in that. So our artificial intelligence tool, it will be counting the alleles and it will be separating the particular DNA mixtures. So the human can also do it, but very long time it will be taking. But in our particular artificial intelligence tool, it will be done in very small time. So Marcino Adelman is a person who has developed this particular thing. So these are the latest applications. I hope you have understood all the concepts in this, and without being late, let's proceed into the next one. That is the current applications, current usage of artificial intelligence. So crime prediction analysis is one of the important thing, and it is also said as the crime prevention. So what's happening in this is you are getting a data. Every year we are getting data. Recent data was 2008 NCRB crime analysis. Okay. So they'll be giving us data, how many rapes occurred, how many murders occurred, how many robberies, burglaries, etc. So various crimes will be there. It can be the cyber crime and the general crime, whatever it is there. We'll be having the data every year. So what this particular software will do is it will be referring the data of 2016, 17, 18, and by referring that, what is the average crime rate and what could be the next year crime rate. It will be predicting. So if it predicts, what we can do with that particular data. So 50% of rapes have occurred in 2016, 17 there is again 50%, in 18 it is 60%, and average is 55%. And in coming years, considering the population and growth of economic and other factors are also there, which will be influencing this particular thing. It will be predicting what is the rate of rapes which are going to occur in the next year. So what you are going to do with that particular data? Please somebody tell me. If you are a police officer or if you are a DGP of a state, you are having a future prediction data, what you are going to do? Yes, anybody there?
Sort out the suspected people.
Yes, suspected people, you can make control of them, or you can increase the police force, right? So many states have taken some measures, increasing the women police, or increasing the surveillance, or increasing the police force at night times. So such certain kind of measurements can be taken, right? So that is what the advantage is of crime prediction analysis. So we can prevent the crime. So not only that particular thing, we can prevent the crime by recognizing the facial things, and we can identify. So there is a software, okay, cloud walk technology is there. So this is a Chinese technology again, and in this particular technology, what is happening, the CCTV camera is observing the people, not only recognizing their face, it is going to observe and record their facial expressions and also their frequent movement. So if a person is standing in front of a store and he is walking like that, and his facial expressions are little different, and he is not a local person, and his intention is little different like that, if it is been suspected, the software is going to identify. So it is not proven so definitely, but it is working in such kind of way, and still the work is going on. So such kind of analysis can be done, in which it is involved with facial recognition and gait analysis, and it is going to identify potential criminals in the public. So whether he is already been recorded as criminal or not, they will be recording this particular analysis pattern. And coming to next, financial frauds. So the use of artificial intelligence for fraud prevention is not a new concept. So we are having many technologies, and in our India, HDFC is one of the bank which is recognizing the automatically recognizing the pattern of usage of cards. So it can be the credit card or debit card or the net banking, whatever it is there. It is regularly monitoring our activities. If a normal person is there, myself am there, I will be using my credit card generally for the purpose of groceries. So instead of using it in the groceries, if a number of times it is being used in any other activity, that irregular activity can be noticed by the artificial intelligence, and it will be notifying to the proper executives who are there in the bank, and the card may be blocked automatically. So such kind of advanced technologies are coming into financial fraud identification techniques. So by tracing card usage, endpoint access, security specialists are more effectively preventing the fraud. Organization rely on the artificial intelligence to trace those steps by analyzing the behaviors of transactions. Companies like MasterCard, RBS World Pay have relied on artificial intelligence and deep learning to detect fraudulent transaction patterns and prevent card frauds for years. And they saved millions of dollars being under the crime activities. So this is about the artificial intelligence in the financial frauds. Coming to biometrics, so most common, and it is being used now. So facial recognition is being discussed for the long, and we are also having the iris detection and the fingerprints, palm prints, voice recognition, signature recognition, and also vein patterns in our hands. And we can also see gait patterns. All this can be automated and this can be saved as data. So most basic of all through this webinar, you have to remember is data is very important. Input of data is very important. Not only data being input, it should also be stored and it should be given with artificial intelligence, so that if you are giving lot of data and you are asking an answer, it will be giving lot of answers. Clear? To avoid lot of answers, if you want only relevant answer, then you should be applying artificial intelligence tools. So I cannot deeply explain everything, and what I cannot say what are the specific program languages or the specific techniques which are applied. This is a basic thing. So output, if you want a particular one, it should be through machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks, artificial intelligence, and you will be getting the thing. Clear? Next, if you are seeing about interpretation of instrument results. So for this, the good example is Dentral. So Dentral is a programming language which is designed by a well-known scientist, and his name is Edward Feigenbaum. So in the introduction part, that means in the 90s only, this person has worked on chemical sciences, and he has developed a artificial intelligence tool which will be working with the mass spectrometers. So what is the duty of mass spectrometers? Identifying the chemicals based on their mass to charge ratio. Yes or no? This is very common thing which we all know. In our result, what is produced by the mass spectrometer, it is a graph which is having various peaks for a chemical structure. So if you are giving a sample to it, to the mass spectrometer, by applying the electrons, by bombarding the specimen with the electrons, it will be separating the chemical compound into various fragments, various positive energies, and that will be again separated depending on its mass to charge ratio by applying the magnetic field and the electric field. So when the separation occurs, there are various peaks which are occurring depending on the concentration of various fragments. So this is the general working of mass spectrometer. So what our particular AI tool is doing, it is going to create the structural forms of the chemicals. The result, whichever it is given, it is in the graphical form. It is a graph, but we need a structure to understand. So the scientist knowledge, so a graph is given to scientist, he will be understanding the graph and he will be drawing a structure. So such kind of knowledge, if it is given to a computer, a artificial intelligent computer with neural network, advanced technology, as soon as you get the graph, you will also be getting the structure. So when it is developed in 1990s, now we are using it in many chemical laboratories, especially in toxicology, chemistry, narcotics, explosives. So almost half of the forensic work is being done by using this particular technique, where not the mass spectrometry is there, it is there everywhere. So this particular Dentral artificial intelligence, Dentral heuristics are very important for understanding the instrumental results. Then coming to forensic data analysis, we can see here there are certain databases. CODIS is database for DNA fingerprinting. National Integrated Ballistics Information Network is for firearms. So you can see various types of firearms, bullets, and the cartridge cases. What are their properties, how they are made, what is the manufacturing process, and what are the unique features which are being inbuilt in their manufacturing processes. So all this data will be there, and whenever you are having suspected evidences, you can compare it with the database and you can give the result. You can interpret it properly. Impressions as well. If there is a very good brand like Adidas or the Reebok, the footwears whatever are there, their patterns whatever are there, those will be recorded. Not only that, tire impressions, their patterns will be maintained in their record and database will be there. So whenever there is a crime, you can identify who is the person bought that particular product by taking the reference from the companies. So this is about the forensic data analysis, where here also you can apply artificial intelligence where automatic process will occur. So these particular techniques are not applied in India so far. So this particular technique should be implemented in India as well. The part of DNA fingerprinting is still in the question. It is still in the parliament bill. Firearms not yet developed and the fingerprints not yet developed. So this particular databases should be maintained by India also, and they have to enhance the criminal justice system. We have to compare it with the proper data. Not so every time we are getting an impression in the crime scene, we are searching for a standard. We are searching for the suspect. So that should not be there. Automatically the things should happen so that we can save a lot of time. So next is statistical assistance for law of probability. That means in Bayesian theorem, that means in the second slide we have discussed very clearly about this. That means considering all possible evidences of a crime, and we are interpreting what is probable that he is a person who has committed the crime, or this is the probability that it is belonging to this particular DNA and all. So this is a basic AI technologies which are currently used, and crime prevention, whatever it is there. So in that part we have discussed about cloud walk technology, which will be identifying the facial recognition and gait pattern analysis to identify potential criminals. So this is a developing technique. This is not a usage. So let's proceed into further last part of our webinar, that is challenges with law work frame. So I have just given you the example. There are databases which are maintained by more developed countries, like the impression data or the ballistics data or fingerprint data. It is not practiced in India till now because there are certain controversial things which are there. It can be the privacy of a person. Let us take the example of that Celebrate developed a software which will be scanning all the data in a mobile phone. So if it is of a common public, they may also have the privacy data which is not involved any crime. So at that time that will be a question. They cannot be encouraged. So that was the controversy over there. So like that, similarly, fingerprints were developed somewhere in 1890s in our India itself. Then UK has taken immediate actions, and in 1910s, 1920s only they have accepted fingerprints as evidence, and it has been practiced. But it has taken almost 10 to 20 years to US to accept that particular thing. And many other countries are there who have accepted fingerprints as evidence very lately. Clear? So like that, there are certain laws with different countries who may accept or may not accept certain kind of technologies. When it is coming to artificial intelligence, many people are feared of that. That means if the humans are not doing work, and if everything is done by machines, what about the employment to the humans? That is a question. But here the people must understand, human can work on anything else than a general work which a machine can also do. Understand? So there is a hierarchy. In a forensic science laboratory, there is a director as well as a clerk. So when a clerk is having ability to do everything, what is the necessary of director? So like that, we should be having this particular thing. Director should be having his own duties, and the clerk should be having his own duties. Both in their respective manners, their duties will be performed. Similarly here also, if a work can be done by a machine, it should be given to a machine, and we should become more smarter, and we should be doing the much smarter works. So that is what the second point is. Caliber of human scientists after emergence of machine scientists. What will happen? So anybody can answer on this other two questions as well. So what will happen to humans? Will we become incapable if the machine is doing advanced work? What do you think? Yes?
No, sir. Human caliber will be like people will work on some other topics and they can do research work on the
Yes, yes.
future forensic advances and all.
Yes, absolutely right. So we humans can become more advanced if machines are doing certain kind of work. And the second point, what current generation needs to focus on with respect to advancing technology? That means what I have said. So don't learn things which machine can do. That means I'm not saying that don't learn chemistry or mathematics, basic mathematics, don't learn all this. In your developing stages, in your childhood to the adolescent age, this age is very crucial. We have to focus on the growing technology. We have to focus on the science and the basic knowledge, so that we can apply it more advanced level. More and more knowledge should be given to a human brain, then only we can be able to do the things more successfully. If we want to give a competition to advancing technology, we should be going along with the advancing technology. So now everything is digitally being done. Okay, So no physical work. Most of the physical work is absent nowadays due to the coronavirus. Much of the work is done online. So this webinar, instead of seminar, it is webinar now. So like that, we have to be adaptable to the new technologies. We have to learn those, and we have to move on along with those, so that we can focus on more advanced things, right? So that is answer for the second one. So this is again to the audience and the participants. I want most of you people to tell something on this. What could be your fictional imagination about artificial intelligence and forensic science? So this question is up to you. You can imagine something good, better, and like a James Cameron movie, and you can tell me something better. Yes, organizers, participants, anybody can. After
So
this,
according to my view, like AI should be more advanced and it should work all the human activities and it should think in very advanced way. But it's like there should be some limitations so that we
okay.
can distinguish it from a machine and a human being.
Okay.
So this is my perspective.
Okay. So I will say one point here. A scientist has used AI technology to solve a crime, and that crime result was being brought to court. And the defense lawyer, whoever is there, he is saying that this is completely the result given by artificial intelligence. It cannot be relied upon. A human should only be working on the forensic related aspects. So, what is your turn on this? Will you support the defense lawyer, or will you support the artificial intelligence?
There should be certain criterias on the basis of which there are proofs given that AI is not accurate, but it is like it is giving information which is relevant to the case.
Okay, what if I say the result, whatever it is there, the result is produced by artificial intelligence. If the human is studying on that, if he is understanding and he could be able to explain that thing, then it is good. Judge and lawyer, they don't have the knowledge how the AI is working. Okay, so we are doing that. We are explaining. AI is able to give this result by doing so and so mathematical problem, and that mathematical problem is proven by Bayes Thomas. He is a very well-known scientist, right? Mathematician. So on that basis, this particular machine is working and it is giving us a result, and in very short time, instead of taking 2 months of time, in one day the result is given. So why not court will accept it? So this is what the approach is required. Understand? So the complicated question, whatever it is there of third point, and the second point, machine is there, machine is working according to the instructions of a human up to certain limit, and it can be accepted because there are some scientific proofs which are there. Understand? So fictional imagination, more fast work in forensic science. We want more fast work so that the case pendency and the crimes which are occurring can be solved very soon, and we can prevent certain crimes by applying the artificial intelligence. And all these things to happen, it will take almost 50 years more, because to consider something being accepted in the court, we have to run trials, you have to use on the dummies, or you have to use on duplicate samples, and we have to examine how the particular technology is working after doing certain trials. See, for example, the vaccine for coronavirus, since 3 months the scientists are working on that. Even though if it is developed, they have to run the trials on the humans and as well as animals, so that they can release it into the public. So that is the thing. So future of forensic science with artificial intelligence and relevant technologies will take some time, but the research is still going on. I want the students and the forensic community to also focus on artificial intelligence, that on scientific things. So a lot of research is also going on. I want you all to refer the particular work. And coming to the ultimate end, that is, thank you for watching and being in this particular webinar. Thank you very much for the opportunity given by Applied Forensic Science for Justice student group, Rakesh Mia and the Vaishnavi, who is the organizer, and also Gaurav Sharma is there, right? So all of you, thank you. And your approach, whatever it is there, your initiative, whatever it is there, it is very effective. I appreciate you all. Student group, the first group, I guess it is, right? So I wish you all develop so much in the future, and I wish you all very good endeavors in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Participants, if you have any questions, unmute yourself and ask them.
Yes, any doubts are there, any questions are there? See, basically I am also from forensic background. This is emerging field. Artificial intelligence is emerging field. So what I have learned is not a complicated thing. It is very simple, which you can also learn. If you are having any doubts, if you want to learn more, or if you want some more inputs regarding this topic, you can ask me. I will be giving you anything which is required.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please, can you introduce yourself and tell me?
Hello, sir. I'm Rakesh Patle.
Yes.
Sir, my question is that please, why is there forensic unemployment in India? In India, forensic unemployment youth in India.
So I've been seeing a recent posts in social media as well. There is a campaign by Indian forensic
Yeah,
students.
sir. Yes, sir. Leading to that campaign only, I'm asking this question.
Yeah. Let's understand this thing mutually. Okay, I will not justify something. Okay. Also, I have seen some interviews also in our college. Also, we have conducted one seminar in which we have asked the forensic science laboratory directors as well this question. They are saying that it will take time to accept forensic science students as experts in the laboratory. Okay, so one who has done his complete education in core subject like physics or biology or chemistry, he's having more knowledge into physics, biology, chemistry, and they are saying that the people who are doing specialization in core subjects are not competent with forensic science students, because forensic science is an application subject. So that is what the difference they have seen. But in recent notification of CFSL, they have given preference to BSc Forensic Science as well as MSc Forensic Science. So that was the recent notification, and a single notification where we can see the criteria was given to BSc Forensic Science students, and hopefully with patience, let's see in future what changes are going to occur. And the community of forensic science in various states, different colleges are there, either it can be private college or government college. The strength of forensic community is increasing. There is no way out to the government to escape from this situation. They have to provide the employment to this forensic community. That is what I believe. Even though I am being in this position, I am looking for a better opportunity in forensic science. Even though if we are getting opportunity, let's say you got the opportunity in forensic science laboratory in the first time, it is on contractual basis. So the notification which was given recently was also for contractual basis. They are playing with the life of the student. That means they are giving a government job on contractual basis, which is only for one year time of period or 3 year time of period. That is not at all correct. So
Yes, sir.
people are joining in those jobs to just get the experience. If they are having 3 years experience, so that any further notification is there, they can apply for that on basis of experience. They may get promoted, or they may get good position like that. They are hoping. So let's hope we will put more pressure together. All we'll share the things of forensic problems, and continuously we'll be working on forensic science. In this particular group, such kind of activities are most important. Students
Yes, sir.
uniting together for their future, and
Yes,
working
yes,
and
sir.
pressurizing the government, and showing the problems which are there without forensic science education of forensic science students or forensic experts. And there are many jobs which are there for those who are doing biology or physics or chemistry, but there is only forensic job. That means forensic being expert, being a scientific officer, or being a lab assistant in forensic science laboratory is only route for one who is studying forensic science, right? So I wish you all people to focus on research. If not the vacancies which are given by the government, research is always open. I want you people to work more and more onto the research so that you can succeed in your future. Anything else? You can ask, I can tell.
There may be no more questions. Vaishnavi, please start your vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Vaishnavi.
Good afternoon to all. Let me express my heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, Praveen sir. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and being with us and enlightening us with such a wonderful topic. Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to thank our Applied Forensics for Justice Student Group members and all for helping us and supporting us in organizing this session. And I would like to thank each and everyone who are attending this session. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, all. It's my pleasure to have been here.
Thank you, sir, and all participants.